Hello, World Wide Web. Good morning. Actually, no, you're watching this in the afternoon. It's morning for me, it's afternoon for you. It's like a time zone thing, only not at all, because we're probably in the same time zone. But I did this a long time ago. So, anyway, thanks for coming to the Hangin With Web Show. We are at Indie Bookfest 2019 in Orlando, Florida. Right now, we're hanging with author Marie Long, the author of the Anderson Brothers series.
Yes.
The Anderson Brothers series, okay. And, you know, we've kind of orbited Marie a lot through, you know, writers' conferences and places that we've gone, but she's never sat down in the chair before. So it's mostly because the chair is kept very intimidating. It's like the throne on Game of Thrones, only less pointy. So we're here at IBF, we're hanging out with Marie. Marie, thanks for coming over and hanging out with us finally.
Thank you. Thank
All right,
you.
so let's talk about the Anderson Brothers.
Okay.
All right, so tell us about the series and where you started and how you got started.
Okay, well, the Anderson Brothers, by the way, thank you so much for being on the show. for being
Oh,
on the show.
please. Thank you. They are ravenous content consumers out there. And if we don't have content, then they will pass us by because,
That's true.
yeah. So thank you for coming on the show, helping us share your work.
Thank you. So the Anderson Brothers is actually my first attempt at writing romance.
Okay.
It was a result of me not finding the books I wanted to read. So I love like books told from like the guy's point of view, romance books. So it's kind of a weird.
Like for romance books, though, like we don't have a point of view because we just kind of follow along. We're like, yes, okay. And it's just crazy, but I don't know.
I read a couple of books that were from like the guy's point of view. Like one was my favorite one was Walking Disaster by Jamie McGuire.
That sounds like the guy's point of view.
It was, I loved it, and I'm like, you know, I want to read more books like this. So I read as many as I could find, and finally, I like couldn't find any more. So I'm like, okay, I need to write my own. And
Awesome.
So that's kind of what spawned my first book, Scarred, which is the first brother of the Anderson brothers. And basically, the series itself is about three brothers that meet three best friends, and basically, each book is their stories of how they find love and like the struggles they go through to find love. And it takes place in, most of it takes place in Seattle, Washington, at the University of Washington. I don't know why I chose that place, but it was just like, I thought it was really cool, because I like Seattle. Seattle's awesome, and when I needed a college setting, so I looked up UW, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool place.
That sounds like a great place to put a novel, right?
Yeah, so,
okay.
The story just came alive, and I wrote the first book, and I published it. I wrote it in 2014.
Okay.
And it actually ended up winning a couple of awards.
Very nice.
So I was really proud of like my very first romance novel.
And that's always fun, isn't it? It's really fun to have your peers recognize you when you're new.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and then it went on to book 2 and 3, so each, like I said, each book follows each brother, and then at the end, you know, how they all come together, because, you know, there's some family drama, there's some, you know, little, you know, how
it's
you
the
know,
human condition,
exactly,
right? You're telling a story about romance and love,
exactly.
and you know, one of the things, I think one of the fun things about writing and reading for readers romance is that it speaks to everyone.
Yeah.
Not everyone can go on the classic hero's journey. Not everyone can go on these big epic stories.
Exactly.
But everyone can relate to finding someone, to looking for a connection.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write a book that was, like real life. Like, these are people in college. You know, they have classes they got to worry about. They can't, you know, but they want to, you know, do this. But, you know, they have a lot of things on their plate, and they still have to find time to try to work things out. You
Connect
know,
with other people. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you chose to write this romance from the perspective of the guy.
Yeah.
How hard was that? How hard is it to put yourself kind of and go, okay, let's see this from the other perspective?
Actually, it wasn't.
Because a lot of people write, romance especially is one of those places where a lot of people write in the first person, a lot of
Yeah.
people write from their own experiences, and so you're like, okay, I can write a girl that falls in love with anybody, a guy, a girl, but how do you write a guy?
Actually, it was really easy for me because
we're very simple creatures. It's true, you know it is. She won't say that, she's very polite, but it's true. We're very simple one-dimensional creatures.
I have two older brothers. I'm the only girl, so I have the two older brothers. I grew up around guys. Most of my friends are guys, so it's actually really easy for me because the majority of my friends are guys. So I just ask them
Just
questions.
Observational.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
You guys suck at this. Let me write that down. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in college, I'd say, what do you guys like have in your refrigerator? Like just random. They look at me weird, like, why do you want to know what's in my refrigerator? So I just open up the refrigerator and just see what they got in the refrigerator,
Ketchup, beer.
Just like so. I ask them random questions. I told them I'm writing a romance novel, and they look at me weird too. But it's like this is research. That's all I know. So
that's the way to keep all your guy friends in line. Is I'm writing a romance novel. And they're like, oh shit. What's that gonna say? What's that? What are you gonna write about me? And so you're telling the story from the perspective of three brothers. How many books? One book per brother?
Yeah, one book per brother. Right now, yeah, it's 3 books. I actually am planning on expanding it, kind of going back, because a part of the book focus a lot on the relationship with your uncle, like he's sort of like the father figure in a way to the brothers. So I'm writing another book, like I guess the prequel book to that, and that's going to kind of be when he was their age, when they were like very young, but basically like what happened before all that stuff happened. So
even the uncle gets a chance. She's like, yeah, because everybody seeks that connection, right?
Exactly.
What made you want to be a writer?
Well, probably like most stories you've probably heard, writing since I was a kid kind of thing. I used to write little books as a kid, and I just always loved being creative. And yeah, I never really got serious with it until I started, I guess, reading novels more, which was not that long ago, maybe like 2012 or so. Not even, maybe before that, like 2010, 2011.
And that's a thing, really. Even very prolific writers, very well-read scholars, a lot of times come to literature later in life.
Yeah.
When early in life, it's like what I have to do for school. You make it through high school, and you're like, all right, I've read those. And then you get to college, and they're like, here's some short stories, and here's some novels, and you're like, oh God, okay. And then for like 10 years after that, you're like, I'm not going near that again. And then all of a sudden, one day, something sparks your interest, right?
Exactly.
And you go back and dive in, and you took the next step.
Yeah.
You ran out of stuff to read, so you wrote it.
Exactly.
And that's what writers do.
Yeah.
When you run out of things to read, you're like, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
And so what has reader response been like, and what are fans saying and readers?
Fans love it. Fans love my books. I've kind of branching out to different types of books now. I'm writing like a paranormal romance now. I'm branching out to like tiger shifters and
a tiger shifter. See, everybody's tired of the wolf. So I noticed that in the paranormal,
a lot of wolves.
There's this, obviously, because that's the classic. The werewolf is the classic shifter.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have now started to. We talked to some people that did like dragon shifters.
Oh,
and all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's a lot of fun because you get to play with the different personality traits that we ascribe to different animals.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love tigers. I mean, who doesn't love a big cat?
The internet loves a big cat. We know that because the internet is owned by a cabal of kitties. We're sure of it. They get paid every time a new kitty meme goes up.
Absolutely.
Which just happened like 3 minutes ago. We lost all our viewers. What draws you to? What is it? I can't read your card. Oh, okay. Well, she just started that one. She just started the paranormal. So the question behind the camera was, what drew her to the paranormal? What drew you to that? Okay. We'll ask the question anyway and see what happens.
Well, what drew me to paranormal? Let's see. Well, I like to challenge myself, so I've never written paranormal romance before, and I've read a couple of them. It was kind of interesting to kind of see a different take on different types of romances. So I thought it might be a challenge for me to write something that I don't normally write, and so I really like the shifter romances, and I like tigers, so I never. Seen many tiger. Yeah, I never seen. I mean, there
are obviously, but you don't see many. Again, for all of literature, the wolf has dominated the shifter world. But in recent years, especially with indie authors, because like you said, we want to try things we haven't done or we haven't read.
Exactly.
And so with indies, it's kind of like, hey, let's do tigers and bears and what's it? True Blood did dogs. Like little dogs. Like, really? You're gonna shift into that?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not fun at all. But so, what has been the best part so far of your journey as an author? What have you really?
Um, Really just meeting readers and authors in person and talking to them and like connecting with readers that have read my books and really loved it. You know, it's like I
Coolest
love,
feeling, right?
yeah, I love sharing my stories with the world. Like that's my passion. Like that's why I write, because I like to share my creativity with the world. And when I meet somebody that has read a book and said, "Oh my gosh, it was great. I loved it." You know, it's like yay, I did my job. You know.
Yes,
It's like,
no, that's the best thing in the
you
world is
know,
to have a
or-
reader walk up and say,
yeah.
"Your book, your story touched me
Yeah,
somehow."
exactly. Yeah.
Because it's that, I mean, especially when you're writing romance,
Yeah.
you're writing about those connections, the connections between people. And so the fact that your characters resonate with a reader, your story resonates with a reader, and now you can make that connection for yourself with that reader, very cool.
Yeah, and I've had somebody, I posted a review of the book Scarred, my first book, because there's some parts in the book that's kind of, I guess, like trigger warning for some readers,
Okay.
and they were like, it's like, wow, this is very real. Thank you for thank you for addressing this and making me feel better about myself. That it was just you know
When
it's
you
something
write-
that they needed to.
Yeah, when you
needed
write
to read
real
it.
characters
Yeah.
in a very real environment,
Yeah.
you make a connection with other real people
Yeah.
who have gone through those things,
Yeah.
and it's a very cool feeling
Yeah.
to know that that your writing is touching somebody like that. And
Yeah.
so welcome to the indie artist community,
Yeah,
and
thank
keep
you.
going and
Thank
have a
you.
great time.
You.
That card up there that she flashes is my shut up card. So
Okay.
as soon as you look like you're having too much fun, she's like, okay, now you're done.
Exciting.
Yeah. So all right. So
Okay.
we're gonna say thank you to our partners and our friends. Our great friend Rick Shea and his team at Famous Faces and Funnies. Bee and her team over at Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida, helping families throughout Central Florida. The Foxwood Wine Company, our great friends over there, Cliff and Rebecca. Our great friend Josh Bauer at J. Bauer Art for all of the great art that adorns our set. The folks at Indie Originals, Chuck Fresh and his crew, Space Coast Comics, for all of their support over the years. And we thank you for watching the show. Hit subscribe so you can come back over and over and over again. Remember, guys, keep logging on and keep tuning in to see who we're hanging with next. Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. That
See?
was great.
Pretty easy.